Hey everyone, thought I'd do a short clip on something I still covered in this Joe Rogan clip. And this Joe Rogan clip, Tim Pool is explaining the OK hand sign to Joe Rogan and his, I guess, producer, the guy who helps him on the show. And they show this photograph here. And if you don't, I'm sure you're aware, but the OK hand sign prior to a certain year was considered a universal form of OK, essentially. Like, I agree with you or something like that. Or, uh, anyways, it wasn't a racist symbol. And there was a 4chan um, campaign run some time ago where essentially they convinced people in media that the OK hand sign was white power. And let me see if I can find a clip of that here. Okay. Here it is. You can see a lot of examples of it, and there's all these photos of various individuals holding it up, the OK hand sign. It's something that Trump used to do pretty frequently, and it's something that a lot of celebrities did. Up to now, to the present. But anyways, so people try to replicate him, and anyways, anything Trump does somehow you can convince people on the left that it's a racist hand sign. So, anyways, this photo came out and showed these SWAT officers, you know, these guys basically. I think this is the photo. They're training or something, and I think they had just done some sort of. It's going to be in real world, or I don't know the circumstances exact top of my head. But anyways, this photo came out, and people were assuming that they were throwing the OK hand sign to show that they were like white power, and that like we took these guys down, and look how strong we are, and like how manly we are, and we're so arrogant that we're going to throw white power hand signs down, and it immediately gaslit people to think it's a racist symbol. Anyways, what Tim Pool was doing was arguing that, and I agree with him by the way, that what they were doing in this photo is in fact a game called the Punch 'em game, where essentially you put the OK hand sign upside down near a crotch area, and when you look there, it's kind of like got you, and then they punch you, so you got them essentially. And I did the same thing in the military. There's we'd be in guard mount, and someone would do the OK hand sign, and they would get it's just a thing to do. People are bored, and at the time it was it was like planking that people are doing the OK hand sign, the punch 'em game. I didn't know that's what it was called, but it's kind of childish, but that's what it is. Well, Joe Rogan had this vague skepticism about how, well, no, this is crazy, and these are SWAT officers, and his co-host, the guy was like, yeah, I'm fully aware of the punch game, but this is different, and it's like, what, essentially what I would like to argue with this guy is that, okay, number one, 4chan comes out with a campaign to convince people the OK sign is white power hand sign. Number two, the media starts writing stories based off of this hoax that maybe they believe they could use this to, because they always want to portray Trump as a racist. That anytime now you see the white power hand, the OK hand sign with the upturned three fingers and the index finger and the thumb put together, that means white power, right? And so Joe Rogan's co-host has now effectively been gaslit. Prior to this belief, and then who knows when the first article ran, that it was a white power hand sign, he would have looked at this photo and be like, oh, look at it, they're just joshing around, playing games, so when their buddies look at this photo, they'll be like, made you look and then punch them. Uh, you know, it's just silly. Everything's a hoax nowadays. From all the racist hoax on the left, and I don't know if you know this website, crime hoax database. Wow, it's down. Interesting. Not sure why this is down, but this is a database that shows a list of like 358 instances, recent instances, and they picked up after 2016 of fake crimes, hoaxes, typically involving racism. And it's just like, why do people constantly believe it? And I believe the left is just consumed with racism. It drives their politics. It drives their social agendas. Everything is racist because racism it means victimhood. And when you're a victim, it's empowering to a certain subset of society. And so you'll believe that this is the OK hand sign. Like, oh, that must be what they're doing. They're white men, and they're doing that thing I saw. That's white power. No, it's... Like, how do you deal with these people? They're not thinking rationally. And I know I'm not alone in this. I'm nobody. I might get like 5 views on my video, and I'll put them out just in hopes that some people watch them, and maybe we can have a dialogue. But these people like Joe Rogan have huge influence. They have these, podcasts and TV shows with millions of subscribers, and it's frustrating watching people either be willfully ignorant of things or be so easily influenced by the mainstream media that they can't think for themselves. And so, without any context, they'll assume that these SWAT officers are doing a white power hand sign without ever talking to them, without ever knowing the context, without ever knowing why they did it. It's just they must be doing a white power hand sign, and that is what's so frustrating to me and to many others, that they are completely unwilling to consider that something. They would have never even considered this to be a white power hand sign if the media had to run stories saying that symbol was the white power hand sign. See if sound works here.
They're doing is a bit of a stretch, I believe.
Well, what do you think they're doing? What is it?
To say that if 4chan did that to mix it up, at some point.
Anyways, that's really all I want to say. I hope one day we can move past this and get back to a more sane place in society where we're not so consumed, I'm not, but they are, with anti-Trump fervor that they're willing to essentially throw the credibility away or to grab onto anything. Just they have to see the boogeyman. If the boogeyman is not the boogeyman, then it shatters their reality. If the boogeyman is in fact a nice guy, they can't acknowledge that. They have to make him out to be this caricature of this racist white man. Yeah. It's funny. This is a totally different topic, but Kamala Harris is now being propped up by the mainstream media. There was this article that ran, I think a day or two ago, where she went fashion shopping with some journalist. And let's see if I can show this. Okay, here we go. And it's just really cringy that it's a love fest over Kamala Harris because she checks the right boxes for them. She's black, she's female, she's progressive, she's a Democrat. She doesn't like Trump. And that to them is enough. It's the same reason why they treat Michelle Obama with such reverence. Is the right word, reverence? And then Melania Trump is effectively blacklisted by the media. If they cover Melania Trump, it's usually in a critical way, like, oh, look what shoe she's wearing to, the Middle East or something like that. But these journalists are nothing but propagandists. They follow these reporters around, these political people around, and they build them up. Did you see anything like this with President Trump or candidate Trump? No. From day one, they treated his campaign as a clown show. And if this woman wins presidency, she will be lauded by the media, the far left media, from Time Magazine to Huffington Post to CNN, and they will hang on to her every word. They will not criticize her, and if you do criticize her, you will be regarded as a racist. It'll be Obama 2.0 in female form. And so this is where the Democrats are going. They must get a woman in power because they want to be the first woman president. They had the first black president. Now they want the first woman president. No matter what. They thought they had it under Hillary, but they failed. This is their second attempt at it. That's why you're seeing so many women run this time. And now I don't have an issue with women personally running for president. It's their politics. This woman is inauthentic. She says she smoked marijuana in college to relax and listen to Tupac before Tupac even came out with an album. Right? And there's other instances of this woman just... I could put together a montage of things she's said and done. Like for Jesse Smollett, she put a tweet out supporting him instantly. No waiting for the facts, supporting him, because it plays good with their base to support people like that. So there's a lot of pandering going on, and I don't like stuff like that. I want to hear the facts. And this is why you shouldn't jump on these things instantly and draw conclusions without knowing the facts and there's an investigation. These politicians, they're all about optics and trying to win political power. And I don't believe anything that she says. Honestly. There's things Trump says, they're said in a way that I would say is not very professional, I guess. But his simple messaging is also effective because you remember it. It sticks in your head. So, it's kind of like this wall thing. He has brought up the wall so many times now. It's like a parasite in the Democrats' minds. Whenever they hear the wall, they just have a visceral reaction against it now. Even though they weren't necessarily against the wall, back in like 2006 when they campaigned, people were campaigning for the wall. Anyways, I'm getting a little bit off topic here. This video is primarily about the Tim Pool thing and why the OK hand sign is not a white power hand sign. And honestly, I have seen very little evidence, if any at all, that there are some white supremacists out there flashing the OK hand sign to mean white power, right? They're more about the Bellamy salute from Adolf Hitler, which, ironically, before Hitler, we were using the Bellamy salute in schools, right? And white power, like real, true white power people, they're such a fringe part of society that they're irrelevant, They don't have any political power. They really don't. They used to under the Democrats. They probably still do to an extent, although it's hidden. Like Robert Byrd-like people. But I don't believe they have any political power, and I believe it's all drummed up, hyped up, garbage that, there's these white powers running society still. I really do. And so either these politicians are very stupid, or they're using these issues to essentially elevate their status. They know racism is a very good political wedge issue. If you can effectively caricature your opponent as a racist and yourself as a, air quotes, progressive, then you win essentially in their eyes. They can label you with that, because what are you going to call them? Well, you're not you're a. What are they going to come back with? So they have to be the first ones to call the other person racist, right? I was just thinking about Ralph Northam in Virginia, and how he was probably the one wearing the KKK outfit next to that guy in blackface, probably one of his high school friends. And the media ran some stories on it, but it was all about, they weren't very hyper focused on it. Some people were calling for his resignation, sure, so they can act like they care. But then a day or two later, they all lose interest and they all move on to something else. If they truly cared about this issue, they would have staged weeks of protesting this guy. But instead, they virtue signaled, they made a couple tweets, and now no one's even talking about Ralph Northam anymore. I wonder what the last article was. Probably recently, but Ralph Northam. I'm listening tour. So now he's like on his redemption tour, and he'll be forgiven by black voters. Like, can you imagine if this was a Republican who did this? It's all about evolving and learning, right? If this was Donald Trump in a KKK outfit, do you think they would have been as easily set it aside and forgiven Donald Trump? Said, well, he can go on his list tour now, and he doesn't need to resign and so forth. Give me a break. There's two standards. There's the Democrat standard, and then there's the Republican standard. They only see things in racism. But if racism is on their side, it's allowed to be ignored, because if they have to force prominent Democrats out of political office, then it weakens. Then it's possible that a Republican could win that seat. So therefore, they have to provide a little bit of coverage, criticize them, say they did their due diligence, and then move on to the next thing. All right. Well, as always, like, comment, subscribe. See if we have a discussion about this, and then thank you.